Welcome to Wonderland, a place to deconstruct ideas to understand your body through nutrition, hormones, and psychology. And in doing so, to inhabit your body with dignity, respect, and pride. Hello, my name is Fran, coach with Team Prophecy, professional bodybuilder, psychologist, nutrition consultant, wife, and mom. So grab your favorite drink, take a deep breath, because I promise you information that can transform how you listen to your body, support what your body truly needs, and help you fall in love with yourself all over again. I know what you want to hear. I know that you want a 30-day reset. I know you want a hack, a shortcut, and something that can give you fast results. And I'm sorry to disappoint you, but this is not the place. You are more than welcome to go find it somewhere else. And when that quick fix leaves you exhausted, inflamed, even more tired and hungrier, but also regaining the weight faster than it left, then you can come back here. Because what I'm gonna talk about today is physiology, metabolism, hormones, and recovery. The kind of approach that I use with my clients, with myself, that actually lasts and it doesn't leave us in a worse place. So today I want to talk about what happens inside the body after 30, 35 that makes everything a little more difficult. Let me show you an image. This is an image where you are here. Let's pretend that you are here. And in this video, I will explain why. And that why is gonna be based on the research, scientific findings. Because if we need to address those issues, we need to understand where they're coming from, right? After that, we are gonna discuss what to do. I'm gonna give you actionable steps. So then you can end up here, feeling happy, empowered, and with the information that will allow you to continue achieving those results. So stay here, stay until the end. Okay, so we already know that it's very common that at a certain age, we start putting on weight a lot easier. And it seems like it doesn't really matter what we do, the pounds just keep piling up. Even if we do more cardio and if we try to reduce our calorie intake, sometimes it just feels like the body is fighting us. And I'm sure you know this. If you and your partner, they both go on a diet, it seems like you have to really work hard to get just a few pounds off. While your partner, male, they just change a few things and they start dropping weight. And it seems very unfair. And I've seen many women complaining about that, even myself. So the physiology from a woman and a man obviously are completely different, and this is what we're going to talk about in this video. Our metabolism, our hormones, our stress response, and the capacity to recover are different from a male. And also when we get closer to perimenopause or menopause, they change even more. So even if we do the same things we used to do when we were younger, those things don't have the same output. We don't get the same results. So does that mean that we need to do more cardio, eat a lot less, and just suffer more in general? Well, not necessarily, but I am getting ahead of the conversation. So let's review some scientific researches that point out the reasons why we keep putting on weight. The first one is sarcopenia, which is muscle loss. This one happens at a very slow pace, really subtle, sometimes very hard to notice, and we just miss it sometimes. This one doesn't happen in a very dramatic way. It happens at a very slow pace and is really easy to miss. But how does that affect weight gain? Well, muscle is metabolically active tissue. That means muscle burns calories. And when you have less muscle, your body naturally needs less calories because muscle is an expensive tissue and it costs energy or calories to maintain. But as muscle slowly decreases with age, then your body naturally needs less calories to sustain. So if you're eating the same amount of calories, but your body requires less, well, that extra energy will be stored as fat. The second scientific finding is insulin resistance. As we age, insulin sensitivity usually declines. That means blood sugar spikes more easily. And with that, carbs are stored as fat in an easier way. And when we experience those ups and downs on the sugar levels, our hunger signals get disrupted, and so those hunger cues become less reliable, meaning we can experience hunger when there's no really need for more food. And all of this start even before they show on lab results. So women feel hungrier, more fatigued, and with a lot of cravings. And so when they give into those cravings, they try to fix it later by cutting calories, skipping meals, and doing a lot of cardio, which makes it a lot worse. Now let's talk about the third reason, and that is hormonal instability. We kind of know that we are not the same as we used to be. We feel different. And no, we are not going crazy. Those things are very real. That is just a result of, like I said, hormonal imbalances, hormonal instability. Progesterone is usually the one that drops first. That one affects our sleep. It makes us feel anxious, and our capacity to recover from training is just not the same. Estrogen also becomes unstable, and that one directly affects our body fat storage, inflammation, and our mood. We also become more sensitive to stress, meaning stress hits harder than it used to. And this is not a mindset issue. This is not a character issue. This is pure chemistry. Midlife stress is a real topic. Let's pay attention about how life looks like in midlife. We carry so much. We have a mental heavy load. We have a lot of responsibilities. And a lot of times we also care for our elderly parents. We are always trying to do our best, always trying to take care of others while we take care of ourselves. And we have a long list of things to do. We have chronically elevated cortisol. That raises our blood sugar, and that obviously promotes body fat and also interferes with our thyroid function. So cortisol is something that you cannot out-discipline. The next reason is sleep and recovery. Sleep becomes lighter as we age, and even one bad night's sleep increases insulin resistance, increases hunger, and also cravings, but also the ability to auto-regulate. So it is more likely that we give into those cravings. Okay, so we are here. We are over 35, and we have put on all these pounds that we're trying to get rid of. So the most common mistake would be to start cutting calories and doing a lot of cardio, right? But usually that backfires. While it's true that you can get some results, people seem to put back on all the weight all over again. But to get long-lasting results, we need to pay close attention to each one of the causes that put us in this situation. As you can see, all of the things that I mentioned are connected, are related. They are about metabolism, blood sugar, hormones, stress, and sleep. So we need to address all of those. And all of them can be supported when we work in synchronicity with our menstrual cycle. We support the system that drove that same body fat, because when we work in synchronicity with our menstrual cycle, we are also supporting the same system that drove that weight gain. We already know that hormones fluctuate and change through the month, but with that also our insulin sensitivity, our stress tolerance, and our recovery also changes. But when food, training, and rest also match those shifts, cortisol also comes down, blood sugar stabilizes, muscle is protected, and metabolism works better. So this is not about doing more, it's working with your body, working with the phases that your physiology is going through, not against it. So this is not about doing more. This is about working in synchronicity with the phases that your body is going through, working with your current physiology. So for that, we need to understand all the phases of our menstrual cycle. So we are going to talk about days and phases, and we are going to say that day 1 is the first day of your bleeding. The first phase is the menstrual phase. This is from day 1 to day 5. This is where hormones are at the lowest. Inflammation is high, energy is low. We usually don't feel our best, and this is because it's a repair phase. On this phase, it's a good idea to focus on walking, on mobility, gentle strength training, eating warm foods, having enough minerals, and resting. And this is the moment to avoid intensive training, under eating, and excessive caffeine intake, because this is the phase that will set the tone for the rest of the menstrual cycle. The second phase is follicular phase, which is day from 6 to 12. This is where estrogen rises, insulin sensitivity improves, and motivation increases. We usually feel a lot better in this phase. This is a growth phase. So we need to focus on strength training, maybe learning a new skill because mental clarity is there. But also because we're training harder, we need to properly fuel ourselves for those training sessions. A lot of women make the mistake of trying to compensate in this phase because they feel better. So they train way too hard, but even if you feel good, it is not the moment or it's never a good idea to catch up. So do not undereat just because you feel good. The next phase is the ovulatory phase, and it goes from day 13 to 16. This is where estrogen and testosterone are at their peak. This is where you can actually perform real good. Usually you feel stronger, you feel a lot more productive, you feel a lot happier, you feel like you want to socialize, and you also feel more attractive. But this is temporary. I know. The mistake comes when we try to live in this phase the entire month. And I get it. The demands of the real life are there. They're real. But this is where we fall into the trap and we put ourselves in a very disadvantaged position. We are not small men. We have faces and we need to respect those faces. I don't know how we have gone this far by not honoring those faces. It's scientific, it's proven, it's there. Why is it that we still don't pay attention to them? Anyway, last phase is the luteal phase. And this one goes from day 17 to day 28. I know it's a long phase, and we usually is the most miserable one. Progesterone rises and falls. Stress sensitivity increases. This is where we struggle the most. But this is the time where we need to focus on more protein and, very important, lower intensity in our workouts. We need to prioritize our sleep and have more structure. This is not the time to make important decisions. Mental clarity is not really there. And usually this is the phase where we retain more water. Mental clarity is not really there. We become more emotional. And with my clients, I've noticed that because they feel watery, they feel not at their best. This is the time where they come to me with urgency saying, I need to cut more calories. I need to do more cardio. And this is where me as a coach, I need to be objective and tell them, hey, you're going through this phase. Let's not make any changes. Things are working. The thing is, because of the menstrual cycle, because of the phase that you're in, fat loss may be masked, and we need to continue with the same program because based on the data, we are progressing. However, it is really hard to be objective when we are going through this phase because we feel that we are putting on weight, when in reality it's just those hormonal fluctuations. But a lot of women, because they feel that way, they push for more cardio and less calories, and again, they fall into this trap and they put themselves in a worse position. So if you're trying to lose weight, stop spinning your wheels and just work in synchronicity with your menstrual phases. If you do that, you will address all of the causes for fat gain. Remember, the first one will be muscle loss. So by weight training in a smart way that will allow you for recovery, you will preserve the muscle. You will improve your insulin sensitivity. Your blood sugar will be regulated. You will have more hormonal stability. Your cortisol levels will be on check. You will improve your sleep and your recovery capacity. And that is the framework that I use with my clients with amazing results. Understanding that there's a time to push more, demand more from the body because the body is capable of, but also understanding when the body is demanding recovery. Respecting that and keeping our bodies happy will get so much more results than always pushing hard. Not only fat loss becomes easier when we respect those phases, but we also notice other amazing benefits such as mental clarity, our energy is more stable, and also our emotional reactivity gets diminished. This approach, I will say that is a very compassionate approach because we see ourselves for what we are, humans. And I ask for the same compassion with my clients because we have been conditioned to always be there for others. But we matter too. We are the goose that laid the golden eggs, right? And if the goose is depleted, then there's no golden eggs. But anyway, I want to be very clear about this. This is not about lowering the standards or not working hard. This is about working hard, but also very smart. It's about using the right strategy at the right time. One that matches the body that you're in at the moment. And let's just accept that our bodies have changed, but let's not take it as something negative. We just need to have more understanding. And with that understanding, obviously the approach needs to change. And let me invite you to just stop fighting your physiology. That is not going to take you very far. When we stop fighting our bodies, the body stops fighting back. And that is where sustainable change begins. If this video resonated with you, I would love for you to subscribe. These are the conversations that I am passionate about. And if you have any questions or you want me to go a little deeper, leave me a comment or follow me on Instagram and send me a message. I will reply to you and we can talk specifically about your problems. I would love to connect with you. And if you know a woman who's been struggling and blaming herself, please share this with her. She deserves this information too.